Yo boys, it's Stove here. Welcome back to another Wild Rift video. Hope you guys are all having a great day as always. And today we're going to be taking a closer look at all the marksmen in Wild Rift. Now, I kind of delayed these videos because I wanted to wait until we got gameplay from all the marksmen in Wild Rift because some of them still had to be bought. People didn't buy them yet. So in this video, I'm going to be having gameplay from Wild Rift, not just League of Legends gameplay. I hope you guys like that better. I know it's kind of cool to see some the League of Legends people just going off and getting pentacles and stuff, but just some solid gameplay from Wild Rift is also pretty good. So if you guys did not know, the job of the marksman in Wild Rift is basically just to win lane and also do a bunch of damage from the back line. It's not too crazy. If you win lane, bottom lane or the dragon lane, whatever it is, you're just able to help your jungler take crab and take objectives. If you guys are shoved in, losing your tower, shoved all the way back to the base, you're not gonna be able to do that. So yeah, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so the first champion on our list is Ashe. She's a pretty immobile champ, but she has good CC and utility. She can outpoke you in lane and also just relies on her slows. Her whole entire kit will just be slowing you over and over again. She can also get vision on the map pretty well, and she has that global ultimate, so you can make plays wherever you are on the map. And if she has a good support, which she really needs because she's kind of immobile, but if she does have a good support like a Braum or someone to peel her pretty well, she can just pop off and dominate on the map. So let's get into those abilities. So her passive attacks slow the target, doing increased damage, and critical strikes deal an empowered slow. So basically when you're landing abilities and stuff, you'll just be slowing over and over again. And her first ability, after attacking the same enemy or minion enough, it increases your attack speed and flurry of attacks come out of this. So you'll see in Wild Rift, it'll stack up from 1 up to 6, and once you reach 6, it kind of glows. And if you hit that ability, she'll just auto attack faster, and you'll just release a bunch of arrows every time you auto. Her second ability, she fires 9 arrows out in a cone that apply the passive slow. This is really good for kiting enemies, and I believe in Wild Rift, the more you level it up, the more arrows you get. So you don't start at 9, you just get up to 9, and it gets the cone gets wider the more you level up that ability. And her third ability, she just sends a hawk out to get vision. This is really good for checking the dragon, checking a bush, or checking any objectives, so you can just know where people are on the map. And her ultimate kind of combos well with that. Say you check the Baron Pit, you can fire her huge ice missile arrow thing, and the farther the enemy is away from you, the longer the stun. So if you hit someone with that, it stuns, and I'm pretty sure it does damage, and it just does damage to anyone that's around that person that was stunned also. So Ashe is a pretty good hero. You just need a decent support, and you can kite enemies really well and win lane well. It's just about your positioning because she is a pretty immobile champion. Now we're on to Ezreal, probably one of my favorite marksmen in the game. He is a super safe ADC in lane, probably the safest ADC because of his abilities. He can just farm really safe. You're ungankable if you play it right. And if you combo his abilities well, he can do a ton of burst damage, but you have to land those abilities. He is a high skill gap hero. If you don't land your abilities, you're just not going to do well on this guy. So if you if you don't have good control of him, I wouldn't play him at all. You're probably going to think he's a trash champion. But because he's so good in lane, and if you land those abilities in late game, he's just a monster. I really do think Ezreal is going to be one of the best marksmen in Wild Rift. Yeah, he's just a monster when he gets going, and it's all about comboing those abilities. So let's get into his abilities. His passive, every time you hit a spell, attack speed increases up to 5 stacks. And you'll see in Wild Rift, they actually did you the service of putting in those stacks. Every time you hit an ability, you'll see that little yellow dash above Ezreal, and it goes up to 5, and it'll show you the cooldown time on that. So the amount of time you have to hit an ability before the stacks go away. His first ability, he fires a damaging bolt that reduces cooldown slightly if it hits the enemy. It doesn't really do too much, it reduces all of your cooldown, so if you hit it, but it's not crazy. And his second ability combos with the first ability really well. You fire an orb that sticks to champions or objectives like turrets, and if he hits that orb with either an auto attack or your first ability, it explodes for extra magic damage. His third ability is a teleport. It's basically like, it's not a teleport, it's another flash or flicker, whatever you guys want to call it. You were roasting me for calling it flicker, I'm pretty sure, in my last video. But yeah, he has a built-in flash. So yeah, that's if you guys think that's not OP, it is. It's kind of OP. And when you use this ability, it fires like a honing bolt to the nearest enemy you're on, like whoever's near to you. But it also hits, it prioritizes enemies that have that orb on them. So if you just use that orb, hit an enemy, and you just flicker to them or flash to them with this ability, it'll automatically hit them with that honing strike. And his ultimate, everyone basically knows his ultimate. He winds up and fires a huge bolt that does massive damage to enemies hit. It doesn't really do that much damage to like the Baron or minions though, because it just does reduce damage to like minions and other things on the map. And now we are on to Jinx, another kind of, I describe her as the butterfly of Marksmen, the hero from AoV. Once you get a kill or demolish a tower, you need to fight with her because she just does an insane amount of damage. She gets increased movement speed, increased attack speed, and yeah, just make sure you guys fight after you get that first kill. Just keep going no matter how low you are. I mean, if you're too low, you know, don't fight, but yeah, just make sure you guys know it also works when you demolish a tower. You get those passive abilities, and you can do decent poke with her, but I would say she's kind of a more close, like up close and personal hero. You'll see in her passive why that is. She has two different weapons, and it's kind of tricky to land her CC and her slow, so it just relies on you playing safe and then knowing when to go in with her. So let's get into those abilities. Jinx's passive. Jinx receives massively increased movement speed and attack speed whenever she damages an enemy champion, epic monster, or structure that is killed or destroyed within 3 seconds. So yeah, like I said before, when you hit that tower down or you kill someone, just make sure you're fighting because you get that huge boost in movement speed, just chase people down, and attack speed. First ability, she switches her basic attacks by swapping between Pow Pow, her minigun, and Fishbones, her rocket launcher. The minigun, every time you auto attack, it increases its attack speed. And when you attack with the rocket launcher, it does an area effect damage and you get increased range, but it also drains your mana really hard. So if you're using that rocket gun, you need to make sure you guys aren't having it out and using it a ton because you'll just have no mana. So you have to like know when to use the close range attack speed gun and when to poke with this rocket launcher. If you have blue buff, then you can just spam that rocket launcher. She's kind of OP if you have blue buff. So the next ability, and this ability is her slow. So her second ability, Jinx uses Zapper, her shock pistol, to fire a blast that deals damage to the first enemy hit, slowing and revealing them. It's kind of tricky to hit because, I don't know, it just looks like the range isn't too crazy. It's a balanced ability, but you can kind of dodge this too. It has like a little charge up when she shocks or whatever it is. And yeah, that's just her slowing ability. So you can actually like chase down heroes pretty well if you hit that. And her third ability is her CC, well, her second CC ability, her stun. She throws out a line of snare grenades that explode after 5 seconds, lighting enemies on fire. Flame choppers will bite enemy champions who walk over them, rooting them in place. So it's like these 3 like grenades she throws on the ground. They don't have too crazy range, so if you're just blind and you walk over them, yeah, you're gonna get hit by them. But if someone's chasing her, it's actually pretty good to use those in stun. It's just kind of tricky if someone's playing safe to use those to your advantage, but it's also good for, you know, preventing ganks. And her ultimate, a lot of these ultimates on these ADCs is similar, like Ashe, Ezreal, and Jinx all have super similar ultimates. Jinx fires a super rocket across the map that gains damage as it travels. The rocket will explode upon colliding with an enemy champion, dealing damage to it and surrounding enemies based on their missing health. So it's so similar to like Ezreal and Ashe's, except this like stops when it hits an enemy. And yeah, that's Jinx. Okay, so now we're on to Misfortune. I would say she's one of the easier marksmen on the list. Her ultimate can shred an entire team if it's placed correctly. She's pretty fast, like movement speed wise, and she can kite enemies pretty well. And her positioning is super important because you're just out of position with her, you're just gonna get one shot. She's pretty good at like spacing herself though. She has some decent poke and a little bit of CC, and her whole kit kind of relies around landing that ultimate and comboing some abilities well. But just overall, because of her movement speed and the ability to kind of like slow people from range, I think she's one of the easier champs to play. So her abilities, her passive, Misfortune deals bonus damage whenever she basic attacks a new target. So I think this is one of the reasons why they put that new system where you can kind of drag where you want to auto. So you want to drag and auto the first minion, then drag and auto a person next to it, and then you go back and forth with her and you just do more damage every time you alternate who you're shooting. So it's kind of like a little skill mini game. You just auto the Braum and then you auto the Jinx, and you just keep doing it over and over again, doing bonus damage. Her first ability is called Double Up. Misfortune fires a bullet at an enemy, damaging them and a target behind them. Both strikes can also apply her passive, Love Tap. Now this ability is not a skill shot in League of Legends. It is a skill shot though in Wild Rift, so you can do some cool tricks with it, like sniping someone's buff like you saw in the trailer. This ability is also very used for poking. You just want to make sure you position it correctly, then hit a minion, then it'll do bonus damage to the person behind them. So this is just her basic poke ability. Now, the second ability is pretty interesting. It's her movement ability. It's called Strut. Misfortune passively gains movement speed when she's out of combat and not attacked. So say you're in base and you're just walking back to lane, you just basically sprint there. It's like a built-in sprint for Misfortune. This is why I think she's OP. This ability can be activated again, like it's an active and also a passive. And when you activate this ability, you get increased attack speed for a short duration of time. And while it's on cooldown, Love Taps reduce the remaining cooldown of Strut. So basically, after you get that increased auto attack, you want to be shooting one person and the other person, and then just keep comboing with that passive. If you know what I mean, like you hit that minion and then you hit the person, you just keep doing increased damage, and that will reduce the cooldown of your attack speed again. So you just can keep using that attack speed to reduce the cooldown of the attack speed. It's kind of crazy. Okay, now we're on to her third ability, her slow, and that is Make It Rain. I don't know why I'm reading the ability names now. I haven't been doing it for this whole series, but maybe I'm just gonna start doing it. I don't know why. Misfortune reveals an area with a flurry of bullets, dealing waves of damage to opponents and slowing them. Now, this ability doesn't really do too much damage. It's more just like a slow from range if someone's chasing you to kite them with. That's basically it. Enter ultimate bullet time, the entire reason you want to play Misfortune. She channels a barrage of bullets into a cone in front of her, dealing large amounts of damage to enemies. Each wave of bullet time can critically strike. So just imagine a huge wave of bullets. Like you can stand outside like the Baron Pit or something and just ult the entire Baron Pit, and everyone in there will just die. So yeah, if you just hit her ultimate, you'll just win a team fight. All right, now we are on to Jhin. He probably has the most unique kit in Wild Rift, and he's one of the hardest marksmen to play. I don't think every person picking him up will actually like him, but the people that do will just fall in love with him and his kit and probably just one trick him. But yeah, he has great poke and explosive damage, but you need to land your ultimate, you need to combo your abilities well, and also he's really, you walk in, do it like a poke shot, and then walk out. He's not like someone that you just keep autoing with over and over again. You have to play safe, and just there's a weird style of play that just kind of works with this kit pretty well. But yeah, he can also CC and damage enemies from a decent range. And Jin's passive, instead of auto attacking like a normal champion, Jhin only gets 4 shots and he has to reload after those 4 shots. And on the last shot, he will always crit. And if he hits that crit onto an enemy, he gains movement speed. And also, any attack speed you use won't make him fire faster. He fires at a fixed rate. And yeah, that's his passive. Now, Jin's first ability, I have not seen one person in Wild Rift use this correctly yet. Basically, when you're walking into lane, you can just wait for the minions to get all low in your lane, and basically, when you fire this little dancing grenade, it's like a bouncing grenade. If you hit the first minion and kill it, it gets more damage, and then you can hit the second minion, kill that one, it gets more damage, and then the more it kills, the more damage it gets. And you only can hit 4 enemies with this. So say there's 4 low enemies in front of you, and yeah, you can just wipe them all with this ability. So it's decent for poke. It's really good for clearing wave if you know how to use it correctly. And in team fights, if people are low, can do a crazy amount of damage. Alright guys, Jin's second ability. Basically this is his poke ability, and it pierces through minions. So yeah, you can just snipe enemies. It only stops at enemies. So you can just go through minions with this. And basically, if Jhin attacks an enemy, his allies attack an enemy or one of his Lotus traps damage enemy, and he hits them with his poke ability, they will be stunned. So it's really good for like setups for ganks. So say you auto attack someone and they're walking away and your jungler is like coming to gank, you can just, if you land this ability, they'll be stunned and rooted, and then your jungler can come and gank them. It's a pretty good setup for that. Now, you might have heard me mention traps, like his little plants in the last one, and that's what this third ability is. Jhin places an invisible Lotus trap that blooms when walked over. It slows nearby enemies before dealing damage with an explosion of petals. Yeah, this is what you want to do. You want to like place one of these traps on the ground, and then when someone walks over it, you snipe them with that long range poke ability, and then they'll just be stunned and be damaged by that plant. So then you can just go in and kill them. Also, I forgot to mention, when Jhin kills someone, a Lotus trap will bloom where they died, so that's a pretty cool little touch to Jin's kit. Now, his ultimate is, you're pretty vulnerable when you use this, but basically Jhin like opens up a huge, well, he turns his gun into like a huge sniper rifle thing, and it's basically like his passive. You get 4 shots with this that do like, you have crazy range with this ability, but it stops at the first champion you hit, and it cripples an enemy, which slows them and deals execute damage. So the lower they are, the more damage it's gonna do. And on the 4th shot, it's perfectly crafted by Jhin, epically powerful, and it's guaranteed to crit. So that last shot in his ultimate, just make sure you hit that one, because it'll just one-shot someone if they're pretty low. And yeah, let's get on to the next hero. Okay, now we are on Vayne, our last hero on the list. She is probably the most aggressive ADC we have here, and she likes to get up close and personal with her enemies. She can outplay most champions if you stun them into the wall, and her ult grants her invisibility and extra AD, so her ultimate's kind of OP. And she does true damage also. Every 3rd auto attack, she does true damage, so she can shred tanks, duel with ADCs close up, almost any hero close up if she combos well. And yeah, she's just really annoying to play against because she goes invisible. Any hero in any MOBA that has invisibility is also like so annoying to play against. So Vayne's passive, whenever she is moving toward a nearby enemy, she gains 30 movement speed. So like I said, she wants to walk towards enemies. Her first ability is called Tumble. When Vayne tumbles, she maneuvers to carefully place her next shot. Her next attack deals bonus damage, so it's basically just a roll like Violet, and on that next roll, just like Violet, she does extra damage. Her second ability, Silver Bolts. Vayne tips her bolts with a rare metal toxic to evil things. The 3rd auto attack or ability against the same target deals a percentage of the target's max health as true damage. So it's based on their health, and every 3rd auto attack you do to someone will do that extra true damage. Now, her 3rd ability is like the one that has the most outplay potential. Vayne draws a heavy crossbow from her back and fires a huge bolt at her target, knocking them back and dealing damage. If they hit like a wall or something, they're impaled and they're stunned there. It deals bonus damage to them and stuns them. So basically, you want to play around walls with Vayne, or just any object. Like, I think you can do it on towers too. So you just want to position yourself correctly and just land that condemn on them. They'll be stunned on the wall. You get maybe 2 more autos, get that true damage, and then they'll just die. And her final ability, her ultimate, Vayne readies herself for an epic confrontation. Vayne gains increased attack damage, invisibility during her roll, and reduced tumble cooldown. Her roll is reduced in cooldown, and she gets bonus movement speed. So her ultimate is just so good in team fights. I would definitely just make sure you save that for the right moment. Don't just go like popping it around all the time. And yeah, just make sure you use that like invisibility every time you roll to your advantage to position yourself correctly to, you know, knock those people into walls. And yeah, that's it for our list. If you guys like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like, comment if you guys hated it, if you liked it. You know, I'm gonna be uploading some more AOV, some more, like, we have 2 Wild Rift videos left in this series. I might upload maybe like 1 or 2 more gameplays. I don't want to like spam Wild Rift gameplays like a lot of people are doing right now. I'm gonna be going back to AOV and making some videos. You'll see that all on my channel update. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.